What's up, world? Welcome to the World's Outstanding Casuals podcast. Just a group of friends talking sports and sharing ideas and learning from each other. My name is Cash. I'm going to introduce my other co host.
Scotty.
KT, man, we coming back to y'all with episode 9. Once again, we got the prize picks plug for y'all, man. Y'all see it at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and sign up with code BWVIP. When you bet your first 5, you get your additional 50 in promo. Playoffs is going on, man, so go over there, take advantage of that. Some MLB, NFL schedule just dropped, man. It's going to be a good episode for y'all, Cash. What you got us with today?
For sure, we're going to start the line off with Lubin got the win versus Andrew Holmes this past weekend. How did Lubin look to you? Go ahead, kick it off with you, Scott.
I liked how Lubin looked. His defense looked tight. One thing was pressing me how he was cutting the ring off. It was good because the dude he was fighting wasn't really trying to fight back. I mean, he was throwing punches here and there, but still, I like how he, even though he didn't throw as many punches as I wanted him to throw against somebody like that, after a few rounds, you could see that, he was touching him. He was able to touch him if he just threw more combinations. I think he could have got him up out of there earlier, but he still got him up out of there. I was cool with the performance. Sneaky just throw some more combinations. But other than that, I like that his defense was tight. What's up with you, KT?
Man, I agree. The combination is definitely something he could have worked on a little bit more. I really don't think he was trying to put himself in no danger during a fight like that. And I mean, the theme of really what the last 3 weeks of boxing has been for those bigger fights is people not wanting to stand in there and really trade with some of the bigger fighters. A lot more movement in these fights than we've seen probably in the last 5 years, really. We see an increase in the movement and people really not trying to get hit in there. We got people like Danny Garcia coming out talking about, just how styles make fights, and really how we have to push the matchups a little bit more to get somebody in there that's going to make somebody feel uncomfortable, look uncomfortable, and really force the action. I thought he looked sharp and really did what he was supposed to do. Like, did what he was supposed to do from start to finish. What you thinking, Cash?
I thought he did okay. If I was giving him a grade overall, it'd be a C plus. He didn't look sharp to me at all. He looked like he wasn't interested in this fight, to be honest. Watching some of the build up, finding out everything that happened between him and his manager he called G-Man, their ups and downs that they've been through, him really challenging Lubin to act like a fighter outside of the ring, to stop clubbing, stop drinking, stop getting out of 40, 50 pounds overweight between fights. They split up multiple times. I think they split up 3 different times. Basically because he's the only one that tells Lubin about himself. He's the one who tells him, like, hey, that was a lucky win. That's what he talked about the Ramos fight. So I think that given the circumstances, he goes into this fight, he's fighting his 3rd title eliminator, which, once again, these sanctioning bodies and their rules, when they want to uphold the things that they want to uphold. For him to be fighting again instead of getting a title shot, I get it. He had been out the ring for a while, and they wanted to get him in the ring against somebody. That's what Andrew Holmes was, a solid fighter. Even though he was 17-0, he really hasn't beat anybody. Noteworthy for us to give him the credit of being the guy. So Lubin went into the fight, and I don't think he was super excited about the fight. However, he did what he was supposed to do, which is why I give him a C+. At the end of the day, he did get the stoppage. I don't think he was letting his hands go, as Scotty alluded to, the way that he should have. I do like the way he was cutting the ring off. He looked like he was in pretty good shape. At the weigh-in, he looked like he was in pretty good shape. Uh, to KT's point about the matchmaking, I think that this was one of those situations where the matchmaking was you got a fighter who's thirsty to get a title shot, feels like he's earned a title shot, and he keep getting set back and having to fight contenders and other people, which led to a lackluster probable or lackluster training camp and a lackluster fight. Andrea Holmes didn't really do much to take it to Lubin to bring more out of him. The thing I do like is when he hurt him, he got him out of there. He measured his punches. He went to the body and went up top and took his time to break him down to get him out of there. So I was appreciative of that. Um, I expect to see a better Lubin in his title shot against uh, boy who knocked Tim Zoo out, Moratella or whatever his name is. Sorry for butchering your name, bro.
Yeah.
But I expect him to look better when he get his title shot.
Let me ask you. I didn't know all that stuff with the lead up, but
No,
I
I ain't
mean,
need.
yeah, I didn't know all that stuff with the lead up, but I mean, for the layoff, granted, the crowd was booing halfway through the fight, like to get them to get busy and
In
everything.
his
But
hometown.
I feel like that's just the matchup that he had. And then as he kind of got to them later rounds, you saw him pick up the activity. You saw him pick up the shots, picking his shots more. It was more, I figured, just getting back in the ring and getting the rounds off compared to not being interested. And then when you saw when you go to 9, 10, and 11, when he eventually stopped him, you saw the activity leading up to what eventually happened. So I ain't really think I ain't think it was lackluster, but I mean, if he got issues with his trainer, we all know how that go. When people, if his trainer's daring him to be great, and that's his response to, if you feel like his response to needing to reach another level is like not responding well, I can see why you would give him a C. But I thought that was B plus work to me at least, especially getting the stoppage of how he was working late.
So it wasn't his trainer. The thing with Lubin is, I think that I don't know him personally, right? I'm not around his team, but from the things that I've heard from him and his manager is Gary something. He call him G Man. Both of them alluded to the Charlo fight when he get his first title shot. Well, rewind a little bit before that. When he turns pro, he says, "I'll go pro if I get a title shot in the same time it will take for the Olympics," right? Because he was one of the decorated amateurs who was supposed to have been representing us in the Olympics. But he's like, I'd rather go pro instead of waiting 3 more years for the next Olympic. But I need y'all to guarantee y'all gonna fast track me. So if you go look at Lubin's box rec, you're not gonna see him no opponents with more losses than wins. You're not gonna see him with no like real bad opponents, no tomato can matchups. Lubin immediately got right to it, fighting really, really good opposition right off rip. When he's 22, he gets his first title shot, but he comes to the press conference 40 pounds overweight. He's almost 190 pounds.
When he fought
G-Man
Mill,
checking when they leave in the press conference. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like if you gonna come like this, there's no chance that you're gonna win this fight. Lubin, he go out there and perform the way that he did. I'm not gonna say that's the reason because it was a flash knockout in the first minute of the fight, and you're 22 years old, lights bright. He fights his way back up, gets the big boy. What's his name? Fondora.
Honduras,
Gets the
Honduras.
Fondora fight. He's up on the scorecards when they stopped the fight because he got 2 hematomas on both sides of his head. When they stopped the fight, G-Man, everybody else telling him like, man, you would have won the fight, this, that, and the third. G-Man telling him like, why you fighting him like that anyway? Why are you making this a war? The first time you got knocked down, you just went in like, forget the game plan. I ain't boxing no more. This is just gonna be a fight. You know. So it's like, then the Luis Arias fight. He wins, but barely wins. And the Jesus Ramos fight, he wins but barely wins. He won unanimously, but barely by the skin of his teeth on every scorecard. He go back to the locker room, everybody celebrating. G-Man in the corner like this. So the trainer go over there like, what's up with your energy? Why is it off? He say, y'all celebrating like we did something. We shouldn't have won that fight. We got gifted that fight. We were lucky to win that fight. Him and the trainer get into it. They damn near come to blows. Lubin got to go break it up. Dude tell Lubin, like, if you not going to be serious, I'm straight. Walk out. They don't talk for 6 months. That's the third time they had split up. The third time he had to get a different manager and all of that. He finally called him back since he's been shoved. Called him back.
That was the Ramos Jr. fight?
Yeah, that was the last fight.
No, the last fight,
Yeah. So then he comes back. He gets him back. You know he's been out for almost a year.
Yeah.
They stopped talking for like 5-6 months. Get back to talking again. He tell him, like, you got to move out of Florida. Like, if you want me to be your manager, I need you to move to, I think, to Big Bear and start training. I don't need you partying. I need you living in the gym. And he really started to change now, you know. So I don't think there was, even if you look at, like, the build-up and all of that, it was animosity when they seen each other. It was animosity, you know, because Lubin was creating it, but it wasn't real animosity. You know, and him and the guy, you hear Lubin, even when he was talking about the fight, they say, this is a big fight for you. He was like, this is a fight where I just can't mess up so I could get my title shot. You know, it wasn't that he felt like this dude had anything for him. He kept telling him, you don't belong here, all types of stuff. So to me, I feel like it was a little bit of that. If you look at the Garcia fight, Ryan had no business losing to Rolly. I feel like he lost. I feel like he lost. I feel like exactly. I feel like he lost to Rolly because he wasn't interested in a fight. You know, and it's a lot of trap fights like that. Teo wasn't supposed to lose to Cambosis. You know, when you go into a fight overlooking an opponent because you don't really want to fight them, you think this is my fight to get to where I want to go. It usually leads to situations like this. Shout out to him for winning the fight. Shout out to him. And he won in an impressive fashion. Ain't like he was losing a fight. I just didn't think that he was impressive. What I expect. Lubin is my favorite fighter at 54. He's my favorite fighter. So I expect more out of him.
I mean, it's only the loss to Charlo ain't really, you know what I'm saying? That's not in Fondor. Them not bad. And lost to Fondor. Yeah, like it ain't like you losing the scrubs or something where it's like, damn, you really not. Granted, it's both things because, you know, we heard the same stuff with Spence. It's like you can still be great and still not as disciplined as you need to be to do some of the things that you need to do. So I guess that's what his trainer's seeing.
That's what separates you.
Yeah. And trying to make sure that when his shot really do come, he don't blow it in case he don't get it again. But, you know, I ain't think he looked, considering reframing, I ain't think he looked, you know, too bad and everything. I just thought, shit, he just getting in there, getting the rounds in. It's been a little while since he been in there. So then when he got warmed up later half of the fight, he went ahead and got him up out of there.
Yeah, I got high expectations for Lubin.
Yeah, I just think he could have got him up out of there earlier if he was more consistent with his combinations. But I didn't know all that. Shit. I didn't know none of that, man. Like, real talk.
All right. On to our next topic. Navarrete and Juarez had a fight this weekend on ESPN card. The fight was stopped and called a no contest due to what they said was an unintentional headbutt. What did you think about the Navarrete controversy? KT, we'll start with you.
Man, anytime you got like especially because they was clashing the entire fight. It was a close fight regardless. Like, so regardless of which way they had it, I think they when they went to the cards or whatever, one of them had two of them had it 70, 77, 76 or something like that at the time, whatever the case was. So it was a close fight. Anytime that you got a situation where you get a headbutt and somebody can't continue, unless that person is so far down on the cards where it's like what's dude name who the real flashy guy who be doing all the little
Ben Whitaker.
Ben Whitaker, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's a situation like that where you clearly losing and you doing something where you feel like you get an opportunity to take yourself out the fight because you know you can't win, which is what that was with Whitaker. But I feel like it was legitimate. It was just unfortunate. But they talking about they likely go overturn the no contest. So we gonna see how that is. I'd rather them keep it a no contest and them both just get back in there and go with it. But they talk about they might overturn that you did to actually get the decision.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hold on, to actually get the decision and go with whatever was on the cards.
Go with whatever was on the card. Yep.
Who was up?
Hold on. Let's see.
I thought they were just gonna do no contest across the board.
They talk about overturning it. Cut to a punch. Yeah, they talk the angles that they had. They said at the beginning of the 7th round, started at 8th, they had it.
I thought Navarrete was up.
They had 2 for Navarrete. So yeah, 77, 76 on 2 of the judges' scorecards for Navarrete. So but I mean, regardless, when you see a close fight like that, I'd rather them keep it a no contest. Just let them get back in there and go do it since it was a close fight. But I mean, it wasn't it was from a punch. Like, what do you? They should have decided that in the ring, though. I don't know, man. We know how boxing be. People be claiming they don't got all the angles, and then 10 minutes after the fight, you will have 200 more angles than they showed you on whatever broadcast that you own or whatever the case may be. So to say that they made a decision that wasn't honest and truthful in the moment, I can't tell. But if it's a close fight and y'all scored it in no contest at the moment, I think they should just run it back. Don't overturn it and let them boys settle it in the ring. How you feeling, Chris?
I agree with most of what you said. I think that for context, Juarez landed, I believe, a left hook or a left up. I think it was a left hook flush. Navarrete bent down a little bit, and when he came up, it looked like maybe they slightly grazed.
Just from the angle. Just from the angle alone.
Maybe. I'm not even sure that they touched, but maybe they did. I'm fairly certain that the punch is what opened the cut next to his eye. After the cut was open on his eye, he was bleeding so bad, it was a nasty gash that he went to the corner. They tried to close it up, or they tried to, work on it. And then they go to the doctor before the next round starts, and he says it's bleeding too much because the cut had just happened and it would only get worse, and they couldn't do anything. He said it was too wide open, so he stopped the fight. Typically, they would just go to the scorecards.
No.
Yeah, because it's after the 4th round, right?
Yep.
Had they went to the scorecards, Navarrete would have won. So that's why I say I agree with KT. Because Juarez, he wouldn't have won the fight, even though. Now that's only because they ruled it as a unintentional headbutt.
Exactly.
But had they said Juarez punch caused the cut and he can't continue anymore, it would have been a TKO. He would have got stopped.
Yeah, I think that's what they upset.
Because a punch caused what stopped it. But because they ruled it a headbutt, I'm glad that they didn't go to the scorecards, because then they would have rewarded Navarrete with a win. With it being a
Yeah.
no contest, I hope they run it back. To be honest, we look at all of the things that's going on in sports, whether it's the draft lottery, the playoffs, and bad ref calls, all types of things. Uh, you don't want to say conspiracy, conspiracy, but in
Man,
boxing,
hold on. He like he had a ghost in the back. I don't know what was going on back there, G.
Nah, man. I was the little switch went in and out, G. That's all. I had to turn that light off.
but in boxing, it happens far too often. Too much shady type stuff be happening, and with it being top ranked, Navarrete hasn't really looked good in his last 4 or 5 fights. He did beat what's old boy name that Shakur beat that trained with Canelo?
Valdez.
Valdez. He did beat Valdez in a rematch, but he didn't look good when he tried to move up to what 35. Yeah, he didn't look
No,
good.
that didn't go good.
He didn't look good when he tried to move up. Prior to that, I think he got dropped twice in a fight. So he hasn't really looked good as he's been moving up in weight. At 26, he looked like a monster because he was so big at that weight class, but he never really looks like he comes in shape. And he's one of their bigger fighters. He's a fan favorite with with the Mexican fan base. So they try to push this guy. I don't want to say controversy or that it was foul play. Uh, but I will just say I agree with KT. I agree that I'm okay with it being stopped and being ruled a no contest, and I just hope that they run it back. For Juarez, he might have missed his shot though.
Yeah.
To get it to get a W.
That's why I'm saying, like, you don't just because of the way. My bad, Scotty. I'm gonna let you get to it. We can circle back. Go
No, you cool. No,
ahead.
go ahead, G.
No, I'm just saying, man. When they say they don't got all the angles made available to them, that's B. I know that's BS. G. Like, you're not gonna make a decision on the fight talking about you only had so many angles available to you at the time, and then overturn it afterwards when y'all ruled it a certain way because your boy got clipped. Like, it's just, man, G. I hope they keep it a no contest. Let them just run it back, man. Handle that fair.
Yeah, hopefully they keep it the same. But again, Suarez missed out on his joint because they ain't call that a punch. They called it a headbutt. And that's what really, because like Cash said, they go to the scorecards, he's going to still lose. But hopefully they don't turn it over. They get him a chance to get in there because it should have been a TKO.
Yeah.
To me, it should have been a TKO, but they ain't got the angles to check and see my ass. I don't believe them, but it be like that, bro. This is boxing. Welcome to the fight game, partner. Welcome to the fight game, partner. Oh man, I don't know, man. Hopefully they fight again and they keep it a no contest.
Yeah.
But Bob, like go ahead, they overturn it, get Buddy to win.
I feel you. All right, so over or last weekend, Canelo was able to pick up the win against William Skull to become two-time undisputed champion at 168 pounds, setting up the fight with him and Crawford to fight for undisputed at 168 pounds. We're gonna go around and get your first thoughts on the Canelo and Crawford fight. They had their first face-off in the ring afterwards. Are you excited for this fight? And does the winner get full credit for the fight? Scotty, let's go ahead and start with you.
He did that on purpose. Hey, I'm super excited. I ain't gonna lie. I don't usually get excited off face off, but when I see him, like, man, Terrence Crawford is not small, bro. Like, he not little. We know Canelo ain't little either, but Terrence ain't small, bro. I would not be surprised if he stopped him. I don't care what nobody say. I wouldn't be surprised if Bud stopped Canelo. Of course, I don't think it's the same. These two different fighters coming from two different weight classes, two different situations. I don't. I think that Bud, of course, obviously should get full credit if he was to go in there and stop a 168 pounder or beat him anyway, outbox him, however he went on the card, if he stopped him. Of course, he should get his credit. But Cash, you already know, like, nah, bro. Like, hypothetically speaking, if Buddy beat Bud, I don't even want to speak that into the world, but if he was to be, he don't get no credit for that. You should be fighting David Benavidez anyway. I'm standing on it. No, you don't get no credit for beating dude coming up too weight. Nah, I'm good. Nope. That's pretty much what I got to say. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. No. That's where I'm at with it.
Man, my first thoughts on Canelo Crawford was I feel like this motherfucking Terrence Crawford is still growing and getting taller every time I see him.
He look big, G.
Like, I'm in there looking like this nigga Canelo 5'3", and this motherfucker like Canelo looked. I don't know if Crawford had some Tim's on or whatever was going on during the face off, but I'm like, damn. And this is Canelo on fight night at weight and everything, and I'm like, Bud must be like 190 right now or something. But
He big, bro.
yeah, I'm just looking like this motherfucker was at 135. G, like he's tripping, G, like tripping at 135. Then he up here now.
Wait, what you trying to say?
See, that boy big, G. Terrence Crawford is growing, is what I'm saying to y'all niggas. Like, he big, G.
For real, bro.
The thought was, like, these the type of matchups we just want to see, man. We say we want to see the best versus the best, and when we talk about pound for pound, ideally, all things being equal, this is what we, you know what I'm saying? If they can come in same size, same weight on fight night, we will really get to see who's the best. And these are the two literal people that they say have the best IQ and the best skills and ability in the game of boxing. You know, sans a couple of the other people that's on the top pound for pound list and stuff like that. But widely considered, these are two of the most skilled and defensively sound boxers that also got some thunder in their hands. So was excited to see the face off. Was excited that Canelo, even though it's somebody coming up again, is at least willing to fight some type of killer. You know what I'm saying? With a killer mentality, since he don't want to fight David, like at least fight somebody that's go really bring the fight to you and got the ability to do that. And does winner get full credit? If Terrence Bud Crawford win, he gonna get all the credit in the world. It's gonna skyrocket his stuff. He definitely gonna get the credit for picking up and beating him, and as he should. If Canelo get the dub, it ain't really gonna be full credit, but at least in our eyes, he'll have somebody on his resume that they'll say was one of the greatest fighters of their generation that he beat, since he couldn't do nothing with us. Damn near same age Floyd. What was Floyd? 35. So Crawford a little older than
I think they was the same age. I think both of them was 36.
30. Okay, yeah. So about the same. So we'll get a comparison of just an older Canelo, but around the same age of level of fighter or what it was. I think he thinks because he was in the ring with Floyd that, you know, it's nothing that Bud can really present him that Floyd couldn't present him. But shit, we'll see, man. How you feel, Cass?
First thoughts on Canelo Crawford. Man, I got so much to say. I'm gonna try to limit it though. I don't want to be too long-winded. Seeing Crawford get in that ring, I'm gonna try to say, am I excited? Hell yeah, I'm excited for this fight. What KT said, you know, seeing Crawford get in that ring, same thing Scotty said. Like, he ain't as little as everybody think he is. You know, the thoughts going into this fight, my original thoughts going into this fight, when I first heard about it, I'm going to say this was the timeline that I remember. I remember most people thinking that Earl Spence was going to beat Terrence Crawford. and Errol Spence was supposed to have got the Canelo fight. You know, they asked Crawford about it, and he said, "Yeah, I'll fight him. If I win, I'll fight him. When I win, I'll fight him." And I remember thinking, I don't want that for you. I'm like, it's weight divisions for a reason. I don't want to see you fight Canelo Alvarez. At the time, what was this, 2-3 years ago, KT? Probably damn near 3 years ago.
The original, yep.
You know, so at the time, I'm saying, no, hell no. Like, this is not what I want to see. Then what happened is obviously the Crawford and Spence fights happened. Crawford gets the win. Crawford said he went, I believe he was on Breakfast Club, and said he was interested in the fight. Then Jamal Charlo was supposed to fight Canelo. He couldn't because of outside the ring things. Jamel ends up fighting. Jamel has like 5-6 weeks to prepare for him. So he doesn't put weight. He doesn't put weight on properly. When I see him at the weigh-in, he looks exactly how I look today. Like same weight, exactly how I look, which is not fighter shape. He looked like fit, but he didn't look like he had to suck down to make 168. You know, which let me know a lot going into that fight. He's not really bigger. Maybe his plan is I'm gonna use my speed, use my agility, whatever. We'll see how that works. So he goes out there and fights him, and he fights like a cat. He's not fighting to win. He's fighting to keep Canelo off of him. Get back, stay back. That's how he's fighting. Following that fight, I remember as clear as day, Terrence Crawford left the ring that night and said, "No, I'm good." He said his weight division's for a reason. Mind you, Terrence Crawford is still on his like world tour victory lap from the Spence fight. So he's doing a bunch of interviews. Go back and watch any of those interviews.
I remember the one you was talking about too. I remember.
He literally
seen him
says
going
like,
there. He's like, "Yeah,
nah."
I got some other things I want to accomplish." That's what he said. Yep.
He started talking about looking at becoming undisputed at 54. You know, and I remember telling Slick, I don't want to see the fight. Like Terrence saying what I saying. When Canelo started swinging them joints, that's what made Jamel say, "I'm good." You know, I don't think Jamel went into that ring thinking I don't want to fight him. But I think as soon as Canelo started swinging, he said, "Nah,
to the crib.
I'm gonna take this 10 million." But
he got hit with one too. He said, "Whoa,
I'm not getting slept tonight. I'm not getting slept tonight." So
yeah, he made all type of decisions.
So
in a quick manner.
So going into the fight, my thought had been for a long time, I'm not really too keen on seeing a fight, and I thought Terrence was going to be at a major disadvantage. Then I seen Canelo last couple fights, and my opinion started to change. First, because when the idea started to gain traction, it's like if they fight, Terrence gonna have 13 months in between the Jamal fight to the Canelo fight. That's not 6 weeks. That's a real decent amount of time to put the weight on the correct way. Now I'm looking at Canelo, and Canelo is at the point in his career. He don't want to hunt. He's past the hunter-gatherer stage. He wants to order his food Uber Eats. He wants that shit brought to him on a tray where he can eat it with a silver spoon. He not going to get nothing. So if anybody he fights moves around a little bit, he don't even have the mind to try to do it. Like he is so spoiled at this point. And when you think about somebody moving up in weight divisions, people who've never been in a ring and don't truly understand boxing, and it's not a knock to you, but people who don't truly understand boxing, they think when they think boxing, they think street fight. So they think, oh, bigger guy wins. In boxing, that's not true. the vast majority of the time. Being bigger, the only true advantage that people think is, oh, he's stronger. You're not tackling me in the ring. Why does it matter if you're stronger? It doesn't mean you hit harder, like just because you're physically stronger, you know? So Canelo moving up in weight, his whole thing was, I don't want to chase after nobody. I don't want to run for anything. If I move up and fight these bigger guys, I see every punch that's coming. Most of them I'm faster than. I have a lot of advantages going against these guys. I think that he stayed at 68 more so because he was lazy. And that's what I feel like I've seen in his last couple fights. Because he's been lazy, because he doesn't want to chase after nothing. He wants somebody to stand right in front of him and sock him boppers. And if you're not willing to do that, he's not really too interested in it. The fights that he's had trouble with, we know them. Lara, Mayweather, Bivol, people who moved. People who didn't just even Caleb Plant. People who moved. People who didn't just give him what he wanted. When you stand in front of him, it makes it much easier for him, and that's exactly what he's looking for.
He be ducking.
I know this isn't exactly on topic, but it is with what we're talking about. William Skull did basically what Devin Haney did. He basically did what Devin Haney did. Devin Haney won the fight unanimous. William Skull lost. I dare you to watch the fight and tell me what's so different. Canelo didn't throw many punches. Canelo did not cut the ring off. It was boring for sure. William Skull was not trying to engage at all. But William Skull landed punches and Canelo denied. You know, I'm not a fan of giving a title away to somebody who fights that way. But truthfully, what is the difference between Devin Haney and William Skull? And what both of them did in the ring. All right. To the last part of the question. Does the winner get full credit? 1,000% they get full credit. 1,000% they get full credit. As I stated, I believe that Terrence Crawford is going to be a full-fledged 168-pounder on that night. Does that mean he could fight the other 68ers? No, but he'll be able to fight Canelo. Because of his dimensions, because of his reach, not so much his height. I don't think that's so important in boxing. Because of his footwork, I think that they are going to be evenly yoked on that night when they get in that ring. I don't think it'll be a physical advantage for either guy. I think this is going to come down to who is better. Will Canelo get full credit? To me, he will get full credit. I know a lot of people say, oh, Terrence Crawford is moving up 2 weight divisions. Canelo really started at 47, even though he only had like 1 or 2 fights at 47. Him and Terrence Crawford are basically the same size. He's wider than him. Terrence Crawford has longer arms. Canelo grew into a 68-pounder. He's not a true 68-pounder. He grew into that. If I had to pick Canelo real weight class, it's 54-60. As I said, I think he moved up to 68 because he didn't want to go hunting for food no more. It's too many movers.
No. He moved up because he was being hunted. He was the food. That's why he moved up. That's why he stayed at 68.
That's cool.
That's
cool too. That's cool too.
Why?
I was saying it for years. We know why.
That's cool too. I disagree with that, but that's cool. I'm not mad at y'all if that's y'all perspective on it. But to me, I think he get full credit. I think that when Terrence Crawford, the thing that I'm most worried about is I was able to sprinkle a couple dollars on the fight while Terrence Crawford was plus 170. The pot not going to get no sweeter than that. I know it's not. The more face-offs they have, because if you listen to anybody that says, I got Canelo and I'm sure of it. Why? Because Terrence Crawford too little. He moving up 2 weight divisions, da-da-da-da-da. What I don't hear anybody say is Canelo better than him. That's why I got him. I think he's a better fighter than him.
I've heard some say that to me.
I haven't.
I've heard some say that Canelo with Madrimov causing the kind of issues that Crawford had to go against. Canelo, of course, is a better version of Madrimov with the power.
He's not close to the fighter that Madrimov is.
He don't fight nothing like Madrimov,
Nothing
bro.
like
He don't.
No. I'm talking about caliber of fighter that Canelo is with the power to hurt him. Not like the style of what Madrimov is with the constant jerky and all of that stuff. I'm talking about like just
Well, I still don't feel like that's somebody saying they think that Canelo is more skilled. I think that once again, that's them saying, oh, he's stronger, he's more powerful. And the truth is, people really don't know. Like, you don't know that. You don't. I know for a fact that Tank can knock out people 160 pounds, 168 pounds, if he hit him in the right spot. You know, like, because he can punch. He can punch. It doesn't matter how big a person is when we're talking about punching power. That's not the same thing. So, like, I know Terrence Crawford can punch. I know that. All right, this is the point that I was making is, I don't think Canelo is more skilled than him. I don't think he's ever been more skilled than him, but especially at this point in his career. Terrence Crawford is going to get full credit. I don't care about somebody saying, oh, he slowed down his last fights, whatever. Terrence Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, and he's older than Canelo. So I don't want to hear Canelo slow down. Terrence Crawford is older than him when they go into that ring. My fear is they're going to do a world tour for this fight. They're probably going to do press conferences in New York, Vegas, Dubai, LA, probably in the UK. Like, they're going to go everywhere to promote this fight. That means every one of these stops is going to be a face-off. That means every one of these stops, people going to see, damn, he kind of bigger than Canelo. He might, wait. I know I think that Canelo biggest advantage is he gonna be bigger, but it ain't really looking like that. And then them odds really gonna change. Come fight night, I think Terrence gonna be like a plus 105, 115, something like
Hoping we can get Canelo on the plus money that fight night.
I don't think, I do not think that you're gonna really make much money for all of the people that you're going to hear say, I got Canelo stopping him. They not gonna talk with their money.
It's gonna be too much money on the fight for them odds to go too far one way or the other. And as a correction earlier, Canelo started at 140. He started his early fights at 140. Yeah.
What was that, bro? How old was he in Mexico fighting at 140?
I know his first 7-8 fights maybe was at 140 before he finally moved up.
He was in high school.
Yes,
he was 15, 16.
Yeah.
But to the point that I was making, KT right though. Like, the point that was being made is that they are similar size guys.
Yeah.
Which is why I would give Canelo full credit. You know, like, it's not like Terrence Crawford is at a disadvantage size-wise for real. The only thing is Canelo muscle mass has been able to, it's probably more dense because it's been able to mature for longer. But Terrence Crawford is taller and got longer arms, and he got better feet. Like, I think it's
really just about who went up first. That's all it was. Like, if Crawford would have went up 6 years ago instead of Canelo, and Canelo would be coming, it would just be, people would be saying the reverse. Like, just because Canelo went up sooner, like, if Bud had not been at 140 and 147 so long, and he was maybe at 154, 160 early, they wouldn't even be saying the old Crawford's jumping up 2 weight divisions to go ahead and fight it. It would be just like, man, Crawford going up 1 more weight, or Canelo
he probably would have went to 54 and 60 quicker.
Yeah.
You know, like, if he would have found some better fights, look at all of the smoke that's at 54. If him and Spence didn't take 5 years to make their fight because of all of the crap outside of those 2 guys, both of them probably would have been at 54 and 60 for sure.
Because that's where they should have been in the first place. Well, I can't really say Terrence still. Terrence should have been at 154.
Terrence was really at a
Errol should have been at 160. Like, they should have
just at 135 as a grown man. Like, Canelo wasn't at 140 as a grown man. Like, They similar in size, but Canelo's still a naturally bigger dude.
Terrence
Like
Crawford. Terrence Crawford is not a natural 35 pounder.
Oh,
I'm talking
Terrence
about at
Crawford
that
was
age.
sucking down to make 35.
No, at that age, he was more of a. What I'm saying is, at that age, when he was at 135, he was a grown man. Canelo was already 140 as a teenager.
Me and Terrence
By the time,
Crawford got similar dimensions. When I was in my mid 20s, I could have made 135. It's no way, shape, form, or fashion I could get close to that right now. Like, I don't. I think that they similar sized men. Canelo is just wider, and it's genetics. You see
yeah,
how
he'd be bigger. Yeah, they're similar though, but he naturally bigger than him.
I'm not. I ain't trying to convince nobody. Canelo gonna get full credit to me if he beats Terrence Crawford. He'll get full credit to me.
so
All right, pivoting a little bit. We're gonna touch on NBA. The Indiana Pacers outpaced the Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, to the tune of 4-1. Beat the top seed in the East. Um, who do you think deserves most blame for the early exit for the Cavaliers? I'll go ahead and kick it off first. Uh, to me, overall, I'm gonna say injuries. I can't put it on a single person. I can't say. I think that the Cavaliers were a pretty well constructed team for what they had. Uh, the first thing that I have to think about when we're talking about team construction is what market the team is in and how they got their players. This is Cleveland. Nobody is dying to go to Cleveland. I've literally never heard a soul say I'm going to vacation in Cleveland, or I'm going to visit Cleveland ever. I'm from the Midwest. Never heard it. Uh, so I don't think that it's a destination where they can just build through free agency. For the most part, it has to come through trades or through the draft, which is how they built this team. Uh, if everybody is healthy, I give them a really good chance at beating the Pacers. Darius Garland was a complete shell of himself. Evan Mobley got injured. He wasn't himself anymore. I thought Donovan Mitchell had a great series and he wasn't healthy. DeAndre Hunter did okay, but I'm not dependent on DeAndre to win the series for me. Max Strus had some flashes, but I don't depend on him. Ty Jerome didn't play well, but I don't depend on him. I wouldn't blame any of those role player guys as the reason they lost. I thought the coach did his job for the most part. I just feel like Indiana was playing extremely well, and the Cavaliers, the injury bug hit them at the wrong time. KT, what you got?
I feel like it's just a matchup. Like some teams, it don't matter how good you are. Every team got that one team that just got their number, that played them well because of the style or because of the people that you got on the team or whatever. Now injuries definitely reared its head and played a part in it, but the Cavs lost the regular season matchup to the Pacers as well.
What was it? Was it three
What's
2-1.
one?
their record?
It
Two
was
one.
2-1. They only played 3 times. I don't know if they played an additional in the tournament earlier, so they might have counted that as the
You
fourth.
sure they in the same division?
That's why I'm saying I think one of those games was a tournament game, so it didn't technically they don't technically count it as like the same as the regular season. But I remember they played each other like it was like 3 times in like the late part of the season and back to back in April of like the last week of the season. Pacers beat them both,
I remember
and
that.
it's just a matchup. Like Cavs had big lead. Cavs blew some leads during them games just because of the style and the pace that they play with. And Indiana's one of the rare teams that even in the playoffs still go 9-10 deep. Like they playing Toppin, they playing McConnell, they playing Matherin. You know, they'll put Shepard in the game and rotate some big men if they need to. Like they still go 9-10 deep. So it's just when you getting a fresh T.J. McConnell, a fresh Obi Toppin, and a fresh Mathurin off the bench, who in each game consecutively gave them 15, and another. I think Mathurin had like 23 one game. Like
Pushing the pace.
that's tough to compete against when you really don't got your full arsenal, and even having your full arsenal and with Donovan going off and Mobley playing decent here and there, and it's just tough. It was just tough. So I attribute it more to the matchup than I do anything else. What about you, Scott?
Now, I don't know, but Darius Garland was hurt too.
Yeah. I think he broke one of his toes or something. He had it splintered up to where it couldn't move at all. But he barely could move.
Dang, man. That's a lot of injuries in the NBA in these playoffs. That's crazy. Y'all know I ain't watching it, but man, that's crazy. I thought it was just because they was a regular season team. I ain't know Cleveland was hurt like that too.
Yeah, it was a bunch of injuries.
Mobley, Hunter, Garland, all of them missed time. Merrill missed one.
Yeah, I heard Mobley. All them other dudes y'all just named, I ain't have a clue.
I think Darius Garland missed the last two of the Miami series too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mobley with a shoulder, Hunter with a thumb. Merrill, I think, just had an illness or something like that. But and then you mixed in with some coaching. Like Strus wasn't giving you nothing the last game. Ty Jerome had 8 and 11 minutes. Like keep riding Jerome instead of putting Strus back in and just do nothing.
But I feel like they was putting Strus in because he did a better job guarding Halliburton. Whatchamacallit was getting smoked and he kept fouling. He had like 3 fouls in like a 4-minute stretch.
Yeah, that did happen. I mean, but shit, what Halliburton ended up with at the 35, 33, 35 at the end of it, he was giving it to everybody last
31, 7, and 8.
Nasty.
Overrated. Overrated.
He's still overrated to me.
He is. He definitely is. But I mean,
he mid like a mother.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tyrese at all.
But yeah, Cavaliers smoked it away.
This game talking
as much. Donovan apologized because he knew they smoked it.
Do you think they should make major changes or run it back with the court?
No, run it back. But they need a small forward. And I like Hunter. I'm a fan of Hunter without a doubt. But you can't keep running Dean Wade, Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert, and all them boys out there at the small forward position. It's doing them a disservice in a time like this. Like if they would have had any serviceable small forward at the time that could really go get a bucket and help Donovan, they wouldn't have been in that situation.
You mean like Cam Johnson?
Cam, who would be available? Even Bridges is fading, but even
Cam Johnson was available. Miles Bridges. Yeah. I know for sure Cam was available. Miles probably was available too, and they stayed put. They felt like DeAndre Hunter was the answer. That's what. I mean, that's what ends up happening. I don't mean that's what you get because I hate for injuries to determine a series. I hate for a team to lose and for them to feel like, well, you didn't really beat us. You didn't beat us healthy. There's a what if, and it happens every playoff run. Like the thing that most people don't discuss is the team that wins usually is the healthiest team in the playoffs.
Best ability is available.
Shit.
All right.
Especially with your superstars. Shit.
All right. For our next topic, draft lottery just went past. Dallas Mavericks win the NBA lottery. My question is, does this change your view of the Luka Doncic trade? And then what should the Mavericks do with the number 1 pick? Scotty, go ahead. Kick it off with you.
I'm writing the timestamp in. 1 second. All right, Betty Mark. No, it don't change my view on it because Luka Doncic ain't in the draft. It don't change my view. different drives, and maybe it was a better drive. Like, yeah, if it was one of, I don't think it's a generational build your team around talent. Like I said when we was talking about dude at Duke, I don't think he that in the NBA. I think he might be a third option, something like that. But I don't think he that. It don't change my view. Except that I think that the NBA be setting up them balls in that pen. That's what I think. But nah, it don't change my view.
Hmm.
What should they do with the pick?
I don't know. See that potentially could change depending on who they get if they were to trade the pick. It may if they get something back from that, then yeah, that could be different. But that would be
That's the
speaking
question.
hypothetically.
So who should they trade for if they was gonna trade him?
I don't, I don't know.
Alright.
I
Man,
don't know. I ain't even thought of that viewpoint. I had to sit and think of that. Like who fit what fit their team.
I'll start
Hey,
from there for you then, Scotty, and then I'll
yeah,
work backwards. If I'm them and I know what's coming available, and I know who want to be somewhere else, picking up that phone and calling Milwaukee and being like, "Yo, we got this number one pick for you. Bring Giannis on down, and y'all will go ahead and get to restart y'all franchise the right way." Now, whether Giannis want that or not to be in Dallas next to AD and next to Kyrie and them boys, but that would be something that would give him a chance to win. And having them down there, you get to start next to AD. Don't know how that would look and work, but AD can play the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen him play the perimeter.
yeah, he can play
We've
from.
seen that happen defensively. They would be ridiculous, ridiculous defensively. And
Who'll be
you
playing the five?
essentially you essentially trading out PJ Washington for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like that's crazy in itself. A upgrade while Kyrie rehabs. Uh, you might even get a point guard back in the deal too. Somebody else that want to be included on it. Uh, but if you trading it for a bona fide superstar that's 31 or under. That way you can get another 5 to 7 years out of that superstar on your team down there in Dallas. So the way to make your fan base happy is if you flip Luka Doncic for AD and Giannis, or AD and whoever that next. It ain't gonna be Ant Edwards. It ain't gonna be nobody like that. But Giannis is the main one that's on the move. That he said he weighing options, and a franchise will forget you real fast. You get somebody like him, and winning the lottery don't change my view. Like we said, I thought Dallas got the better end of it, but I did say that I thought the Lakers got the better long term deal out of it because they got a star for the next 10 years. Where if this trade with the lottery brings another star in for the next 7 to 10 years for Dallas, they would have completely won it. How you feel, Cass?
Does this change your view of the Luka trade? No, because I thought that. Well, yeah, it does. Actually, it does. I thought Dallas won for the short term. I thought Lakers won for the long term. Now I think that Dallas won both. I think they won
Yeah.
for the short term and the long term. Uh, in the short term, obviously, there's no way of knowing this, but I do believe if Dallas was healthy, they would be in contention for a championship this year. If they were 100% healthy, I think they would be contending to win the West this year. Uh, we knew that they were better in the short term. How much better? I think that people just drastically overrated the Lakers. I've been saying it since the trade was made. Um, and then I feel like the proof was kind of in the pudding, the way that they lost 4-1 to Minnesota. Um, as far as what should the Mavericks do with the pick, if I'm the Mavericks, I keep it. I like the idea of like possibly trading, but this is the thing. Let me touch on what Scotty said. I've heard a lot of talk this week about is the draft uh if is the draft lottery fixed,
Hey,
and
G Rose went to Chicago.
I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, there's no way they could fix it, everybody would have to be in on it. Tell y'all a quick story. Before God, when I was little, one of my uncles used to play the lottery all the time. And I was real good with math. So every time I came to their house, which was every weekend, every Sunday I went to their house, he would pull me in his room and have me look over the numbers that he got so far. Every weekend, he would hit like 4 out of the 6 numbers. Sometimes he would actually hit, but most of the time he would get really close. They doing the same thing. They got these little lottery balls in here. They lift the thing up, it slides up. It's a whole horse and pony show.
That's why they don't do it live no more. The actual
1,000% you can cheat. A
So you
thousand
don't think I'm
percent.
capping?
You
You
can
don't
have
think I'm
weighted
capping?
balls. Like you can have weighted balls. 1,000% you can cheat. Like no question you can cheat. You know, like, do I think that do I think they cheat for sure? Am I mad at it?
Oh,
No.
okay.
I'm not mad at all because I think that they do what's in the best interest of the league and for the fans. You know, when LeBron is coming into a draft, where else should he go besides Cleveland? Where else should a
Same
kid from
thing with
Akron go
D-Rose.
besides his hometown? When Derrick Rose is in the draft, where else should he go besides Chicago? You know, I live in Houston. On a random Tuesday in the middle of the season, if they playing the Pelicans, I'm not even thinking about going unless Zion is there. Of course, you better get Zion now when Chris Paul leaves. You got a foreign big man coming to the league who needs to be with a great medical staff and a coach that know how to coach foreign players. Where else do I want him except Popovich? Like, the league do exactly what they're supposed to do. The Dallas Mavericks fans were turning their face on their franchise because they felt like the franchise turned their back on them. So they were turning, and the league was like, y'all think y'all not about to go to games?
right.
We finna give y'all the next great white hope. And I promise you we not sending him to a city called Chocolate City. I promise you we not sending him to Charlotte so he could get tattoos on his neck and be wearing the chain.
Washington Wizards. What? Utah.
Chocolate City.
What?
Wait.
What?
No,
Utah.
he's not going to none of these places. He's the great white hope. We're going to put him in an advantageous situation, and we're going to make sure that the fan base is happy. So they did what they had to do. I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not mad at it at all. The
That's
NBA
not.
does what's in the best interest of their league. As a fan, I appreciate that they do what's in the best interest of their league. I
So
don't want it
Cash,
to
to
be.
that Lakers trade could have been the same thing we talking right now from the
It
beginning.
is. No, it is. Like that's what it was from the
It's like,
beginning.
who
That's
won the
what it
trade?
was.
The NBA won.
The NBA was like, yo, the LeBron done after this year. We need to get somebody to keep selling the tickets for the Lakers.
Luka.
Watch this.
So I don't think it was a grand conspiracy. I don't think that when Luka got
See, that's how
traded,
far I take it.
they already decided this is what we gonna do. But I think when they seen the fan base constantly booing and fire Nico and all of this, they like, we can't let them turn their back on their franchise. We're gonna throw them a bone. So, what should they do with the pick? I would keep the pick. I like Cooper Flag. I think that he's going to be a great NBA player. If you go back a couple episodes, I said I don't think he can be the face of a franchise that wins a championship, but I do think that he could be the second or third best player on the championship winning team. In this
Did you call him
situation,
Karolinko?
huh?
Didn't you call him Karolinko?
Yeah. In this situation, I believe that this is the best possible situation for him, and he actually can eventually turn into a franchise carrier. He can have the trajectory of a Kawhi Leonard or a Jimmy Butler that's more productive at the beginning of his career, where he wasn't necessarily, or those guys wasn't necessarily seen as being a face of a franchise at some point, and they worked their ass off to put themselves in that position. A Jalen Brunson. The difference is he is seen as the from jump. Had he went to a bad franchise where everything is on him, he probably shoots sub 40%. People are put these unrealistic expectations on him, and then maybe he doesn't live up to it. But in this situation, where he get to learn behind, at worst, the second best defender on planet Earth, and I believe that's where his bones will really be made. I think that he's going to be a great, great defender.
Air
Uh,
rebound.
yeah, I think that this is the best case scenario. They're gonna give him about 5 plays a game. Outside of that, they're gonna say, "Hey, we're gonna drive and kick. You're gonna get some open threes, and then get it out the mud. Cut, get some tip ins, hit the offensive glass. Like he's going to shoot 50% now, probably average 15, 16 points, 8 rebounds, and maybe 3 stops, 3 blocks and steals combined as a rookie. I think that is phenomenal
With some
for him.
veterans in the locker room.
And he's going to be on a playoff contending team, uh, contending upon Kyrie's health. Last point. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily like the Giannis thing because they would bleed their team, and I don't think it's a good fit for him. I think a lot of times we get caught up in the super team, stack the team, get as much talent, but the fit needs to be right. I don't like that fit. Do I think they could be successful? Yeah, I do. I mean, it's Giannis, AD, Kyrie. I think they could be successful, but I don't think that's the perfect fit. If I'm going to trade that number one pick, I would go out there and get, if I was, but I wouldn't. But if I was, I would go get a young scorer to
like
help
who?
carry the offense while Kyrie is out. A young scoring wing.
Like who?
Well, who is that
Like, give
that's
me.
available? That's what I was trying to think of. Like,
That's why
what?
I
Shit,
wouldn't
that
make the
number one
trade.
pick, they could become
Honestly, that's why I
available.
wouldn't make the trade. Because the people that I think of when I say that, like, you got
Booker?
to be almost borderline superstar for me to give you the number one pick. And obviously, they're going to add some other things to it. But, like, who's worth that? KD too
Yeah,
old. KD would be perfect if it was five
Booker,
years
yeah,
Jalen
ago.
Brown?
yeah. He too old.
Would I trade the number one pick? Only reason I
Ooh,
wouldn't is because I think Jalen Brown is on a bad contract. He never gonna live up to that $300+ million
It's a lot
ever.
of bread.
Nothing he do is going to live up to that money. So do I think he a good? I think he's a great, not great. I think he's a really, really good player. Uh, do I think he's worth a first round, the number one overall pick? Yeah, because I get a guaranteed All Star. But I'm not adding $300 million to my payroll. They could have gave that to
Yeah,
Luka if that's what they wanted to do.
yeah.
Like, I'm
yeah,
not doing
that's
that for
that.
Jalen
Yeah,
Brown.
that's
If KD
yeah,
was
that's
5 years younger, that'd be perfect. Um,
yeah. He too old, man.
if Tatum didn't get injured, that'd be perfect. It's not really a lot out there where that I would say I would actually go make that move for. Anthony Edwards, they're not giving him up.
They're not giving him up at
So if
all.
Boston called you right now, you the GM of Dallas, and say, "Hey, Tatum hurt right now. He'd be back in a year." You wouldn't give up that pick for hurt Tatum?
No, sir.
Yeah,
No,
man.
sir.
It's not. The NBA at this weird place where because Luca was supposed to be one of the faces, and they just, you know what I'm saying. It's not like they go trade it back for Luca and then pay him $200 million. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and we
Achilles are
just know.
Achilles is a funny injury. We think now because we've seen people come back like, oh, modern medicine, everybody come back. You might not come back the same. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like KD is basically a jump shooter at this point in his career. Jason Tatum too young to just be a jump shooter for the rest of his career after Achilles injury.
I'm
uh,
hoping that.
and that little
Yeah.
note I heard, it was just a coin flip between the
Them and the Bulls.
Mavs and the Bulls. G,
The Bulls had a 50-50 chance at getting the number one pick.
that's crazy. And lost
Crazy.
it. And lost it
Whole time, if we would have got it, I definitely would have wanted to get rid of it.
to trade it.
Yeah, because I keep saying it. I know it sounds crazy, but Zealous is the same level player. He just don't come with all of the hype that Coop come with. But Zealous, I'm telling you, they are so similar. They are so similar. Do
I
I
hear
think
that.
Coop? Do I think Cooper is better? Yeah, but like barely. And it's like if we already got that. To me, the bigger draft story is what the Spurs do with that number 2 pick. Because I think they are the ones that might go get Giannis or KD.
They could. I mean, you package since Dame hurt, you go get him Fox in the number one pick, and then
It
get
ain't gonna be
Giannis back.
Fox. It ain't gonna be Fox. It'll have to be Castle, the number 2 pick, the number 14 pick, and then probably some of those other guys to help fill out the salary, like Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson.
I think they need a superstar back for it. It's probably the number. It's probably the number 2 picks, Fox and Castle. To be
Nah,
real with you, like
then I wouldn't do it.
you wouldn't
I
do it.
wouldn't do it. Nah. What I would do is by the
I mean,
start
cause
of
you,
next season, either Dylan
Hell
Harper
no.
or Stephen Castle is on my team. One of those two guys are on my team. If I have to give both of them up to get Giannis, I would do that. But if they say no, Phoenix, y'all gotta lose KD. You know what I'm saying? Like the number 2 pick is gonna be Dylan Harper. Y'all got a franchise possible changer to move forward. You
yeah.
know, if we get y'all number 2 and number 14,
What's up?
yeah, like y'all not
And
gonna deplete our
y'all get
roster
to
to
keep
get 2 years
Book.
of Kevin Durant.
Yeah, y'all get to keep Book and all of that shit. Like,
Right, right.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm them, if I'm the Spurs, because I don't like the idea of trying to develop 2 young guards. You know, it's been well stated on this pod. To me, Dylan Harper is my favorite player coming in the draft. I think he will be the best player in this draft. Scotty, against what you said, I do think this is a very strong draft. I think that they got a lot of good players in this draft and a lot of people that's going to develop to become good players in the NBA.
No,
But
what I mean by that, I mean like a superstar, like
I think
a gen-
Dylan Harper to me is going to be similar to a James Harden. That's superstar.
that's a
Uh,
generational shit. If you become
uh,
that,
I like Stephen Castle as well, and I think that both of these guys have all star potential. I would keep one of them if I'm going to get Kevin Durant. For Giannis, y'all can have both of them. But I'm keeping De'Aaron Fox. There's no way I don't end up with one of those 3 guards and Giannis.
Yeah. You gotta have one of those guards.
Yeah. And
That's why I'm
compare him
thinking
with
like
Wemby.
maybe they don't want the young boy
Giannis
Castle.
with Wemby, niggas ain't finna score, bro.
I think I like the Giannis fit with Wemby better than the KD fit with Wemby, but I don't
But you don't
like
like
how
Giannis
much,
with AD?
huh?
You don't like Giannis at AD, but you like Giannis at Wemby?
Wemby a much more
Wemby is different,
perimeter.
bro.
He's a much more perimeter established player than Anthony Davis is.
Yeah,
Man,
and
AD
they
be out
ain't
there on
nobody
that free
finna
throw
score
line
on them
extended shooting three
Wemby
too.
is truly a 7'4" wing. He's really
for
a wing.
real.
He's just a rim protector.
Yeah.
But he's a 7'4" wing. He plays on the perimeter. Uh,
They defense would be crazy.
I think KD is his favorite player, and I think that if he get to play along with KD and practice with him and train with him, it helps him better in his career to become who he wants to become. Also think it's a good match. I think, you know what I'm saying, in that Spurs offense, and KD don't demand the ball as much. So Wemby still get to continue to grow. Giannis, he got the peel. And, and, and
Everywhere.
I and I like Giannis a lot, but he don't know, he stunts a lot of people growth with how much he needs the ball. So,
Agree there. Agree there.
but either way, I like both of them. But I'm really intrigued to see what the Spurs gonna do. What I would not do is go into the season next year with both of those young guards. I don't believe in developing young talent that play the same position. I don't believe in that. It creates unhealthy competition and can ruin the team, like the team dynamic when you got young players who play the same position, both of them trying to get a contract, and
Like
I'm
Ricky
not a
Rubio
fan of
and
that.
Johnny Flynn.
What guard you
Right,
talking about?
exactly. Or think about the Lakers when they had Josh Hart, Lonzo, uh, Randall,
BI.
Bi, Kuzma,
Cool.
like. It's just you can't develop that many young players at the same time. Everybody's trying to become the man. And it's like, I only want to pass the ball to you. If I'm halfway guarded,
Yeah.
I might as well shoot it. You know, so it's just like I think it's unhealthy. I don't like that.
I feel that.
All right, fellas. We're gonna go ahead and stop it right there. We appreciate y'all for tuning in to World's Outstanding Casuals. That's gonna be episode 9. Thank y'all for tuning in, where we care more about what's real instead of what's right, or instead of being right. Hope you enjoyed the pod. Like, share, and subscribe. And normalize saying I don't know. If you don't know something, that's okay. Listening. Peace.
Hey, and normalize that BWVIP Prospects promo code, man. Y'all tap in.
Y'all
All
go ahead,
love.
tap in.
What's up?
Big
All right, y'all.
WOC.